unique identifier. Like just for instance now, like your customer IDs and also like just okay, let me come down to our level here, like our matriculation, that was called matriculation when we were in school, our matric
Mm.
number. So those are like primary keys. So they are
Okay.
unique to us and they're not like all these duplicates, whatever. They are unique to us. So that's in short, that's primary key.
Primary keys are unique.
Yeah.
God bless you, sir. Mr. Abdullah Ahmed,
Yes,
can you
I'm
tell me
here.
more about primary key?
Okay, primary key are just basically unique identifiers in a
Yeah.
table that are linked to each record. So the purpose of this is to just ensure that we don't have the duplicity of
Can you hear
also
you
link
again?
it
Oh?
with other foreign keys in other tables.
Can you come again, please? You at some point you were off. Hello?
What about now?
Can hear you now. Continue,
Okay, I
please.
said,
Yeah.
hello. I said
You are very bad. Good. Let me call someone. Oh, yeah. Primary key.
each record in each record in the table has this unique identifier that
Identifier.
is no
Okay. Everybody's
duplicate.
saying the same thing. I want something new. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ahmed. Oh, yeah.
Hi, sir. Is a unique identifier. It has
Don't
no
say the same thing
duplicate.
now. The packages now.
Okay.
Give me examples, illustrations.
Oh, okay. Examples,
Uh-huh.
illustrations. Okay, for example, there in a class there can
Yes.
be more than one Onyinye with the same surname,
Thank
and we
you.
can
That's what I
all
want.
be dark
Uh-huh.
in complexion and the same age. But when we are given a unique way of identifying, differentiating this Onyinye from this Onyinye, so we give a number or a way or a name or something. So it can be student one, student two, student three, just a way to differentiate the different Onyinye's in a class.
Okay. Thank you. Tosin Balogun, please be fast.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Well done, sir.
For me, primary key, after the uniqueness, primary key does not have, what is it called, null value. I mean, you
Thank
can see
you.
no value in
Nice one.
other distance. So that means in
Mm-hmm.
my
Mm-hmm.
matric, each time I get admission to university, there's always a matric number for every
How many
student,
times
sir.
you get admission to university?
No, I'm not trying to
You said each
start
time.
an
Yeah.
person. Okay, sorry, sir.
Okay.
So I mean everyone that got admitted into a
Uh-huh.
university.
Thank you.
So there's always what we call so everybody has his own. So so there's nothing like not value in a primary key, sir. Thank you, sir.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Tosin. Because this
Yes, sir.
class is more it's a discussion class today. We are not doing any practical per se. Now, you said matric number is a primary key, Abby.
Yes, sir.
But do you know it's very possible that matric number cannot be my primary key?
Yes, but
Can
then
you
I'm
tell me
just
why?
citing.
Can you tell me why it might not be used as primary key?
Sir, now are we talking of probably institution? Now, if you are using institution, matric number can never be the same. That's why I'm using an institution. Now, in
No,
some other
I know
cases,
that matric number might not be the same.
but
But I'm
in
saying that
some
in what scenario can it happen that my matric number will not be my primary key?
probably in another, let me say, CASA, are you talking about another organization or
Within the
we should
same
use the
organization,
same?
within the same school.
Okay, we can use three names because I've not seen anyone bearing three names. Probably
At the same time,
Tosi,
it's very, very
yeah,
possible, sir.
Tosi,
It's very,
Tosin.
very possible, sir. You cannot use that. Okay,
I mean the
Modupe.
three names:
Yes,
surname, other name,
yes.
and my name.
Very, very possible. All those are South people. They bear
Okay,
almost
yeah, I
same
just
name.
wanted to say that maybe it's sorry, let me just
Hey,
fight.
sorry, you have a baby, Abby. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Amzat. Okay.
Hello,
Any
sir.
other person?
Hello, good
Hello.
evening, class.
Okay, so,
Good evening, Alima.
Yeah, good evening,
Yeah.
everyone. So, primary keys, like everyone has said, they are unique identifiers. So, for example, you have like account number for everybody in a bank. No two
Yes.
customers can have account number. When you are now doing your analysis, say you are in the bank, and then you now have the column for your account number to be blank, which should not be. Primary keys, unique identifiers cannot be left blank. So a customer must be tied to an account number to be identified. So that's what.
A customer
They
must be
ensure
tied
that,
to an account number to be identified.
yes.
So the account number is the primary key for that customer.
Yes, because we can have
That's
another
not correct
customer
now.
that it's not correct.
It's not correct. Because a customer can have more than one account number. So if the two account number appear, if the 3 or 2 account numbers appear on the table, that customer name or details will repeat.
I'm just saying that for a particular bank.
In a particular bank, I can have more than one account.
Okay, true that.
Aha. This is the reason why I'm teaching this topic today. This surrogate and surrogate key. This is the reason why. Let's go ahead. Let's argue. Oh yeah.
Okay, that's
I like argument and discussion very well.
Yeah, but it cannot be left blank.
It cannot be blank. Well, don't worry. Let's leave that one for now. We'll come back to that banking example. Okay, Modupe.
Okay, so what I wanted to say is that let's say there is on the student table, for instance, now let's say the matric number is the primary key. Now we have another table that let's say maybe cost table. Maybe on that table, the primary key for that table now is maybe all the CO, whatever. But the student matric number is there, then in that table is not going to be the primary key again. So I'm trying to look from the angle of different
That's not the
table,
context that I'm
primary
looking at. I'm looking at this thing from. But thank you for trying.
Then that one.
Now, there's something that you guys are missing. Before you get matric number, what is that first thing that you first get?
Admission number, sir.
Thank you. God bless you, sir. The first thing you will get, see, when you are thinking of modeling your tables, when you are thinking of determining what will be your primary key on a particular table, you have to look at several factors and examine your data very well. Applicant's ID or admission number is what you first have. Say I apply to this particular school. It's when I get admitted that I get a matric number. Are you getting my point now? So some people will end up having application ID, application number, but might not end up having a matric number. Because of what? Probably they were not admitted, or they got admission, and because they had another offer somewhere else, they rejected the admission. Do you understand? You might be admitted to a school. If you do not do clearance and submit your JAMB results and your document and your documentation, you will not get a matric number. So I have the admission. I did not go to the school. I did not result in my 100 level. I did not defy it. I just did not accept nor decline. There will be no record of matric number for me in that school. Even though I go, so you see that there are different nuances to the context of these things. So first of all, to determine your primary key, you have to first understand the business process, understand the business entities that you are dealing with. And what do I mean by entities? So in a retail company, for example, what you will see are customers, products, geography/location, vendors, right? Sales reps, sales managers, HR, all those things, procurement. They are the business, they are the different parts of the whole that makes up the entire business. And they are all linked to each other. If you look at OLTP and OLAP design, you will see that it is being designed in a way that captures the business process. Now, my fellow people, how do you determine your primary key? Let's get to these two concepts, surrogate key and natural key. Can somebody try and tell me, have you heard the word surrogate key before? And what do you understand by surrogate key? Anybody?
Okay. Okay, surrogate key,
yes,
is a system-generated key.
Yes.
Okay, let's say, for example, in our SSMS where we are writing, we are creating our table and we say identity 11. That is a system-generated key. The system is generating the numbers for you. But a natural,
so it means that for every new record, it will auto increment.
It will auto increment. That's one, but the seed is increasing. You are the one determining the how it's.
Give me an example.
Okay, like for example, like I said in our SSMS, like in our database now,
yes,
you want to auto increment. When you create a table, you put integer in bracket identity 11. So that means you want the seed to increase by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Like you want it to auto increment by 1. That is a surrogate key determined by the system.
So the system generated key.
Generated key, yes.
What's your name?
Elsie.
I owe you credit on your phone.
Hey, thank you.
Now, can somebody tell me, not Elsie again, somebody else. What do you understand by natural key? Natural key. Nobody knows it. Okay, Elsie, please go again. Natural key.
Okay, a natural key is a key determined by the business. Like, for example, your SIM card number, SIM, is MTN that decides that number for you. Your account number is the bank that decides for you. Your social security number, the country decides for you. So these are natural keys. Thank you.
Now, in the context of what we are saying today, Elsie, how does these two differ from each other?
Okay, the two differs in the sense that, for example, there is something called SCD, slowly changing dimension. So when the dimension changes, now you can introduce a surrogate key to differentiate the natural keys. But that's my understanding. I don't know. Maybe
this girl is too good, I beg. I'm doubling your gifts.
Thank you.
You the boss my head. Sincerely, that was a wonderful attempt.
Thank you.
Now, she has given us a very good foundation. A very good foundation of surrogate key and natural key. Now, let's continue. Surrogate key, they are system generated, meaningless. Mark that word. Meaningless identifier. For example, when you set up, you are creating a new table on SQL and you set it to auto increment. You can use identity, you can use the integer, something called GUIDs. Can somebody type that to the full meaning of that GUIDs to the chat section? Fastest finger. The full meaning of GUIDs. Now, what are the features of surrogate key? They are stable. That's the only point that Esther did not mention. They are stable. They do not change. So even if the business evolve, the business processes, the operationalization of the business evolves, changes. They do not change, right? They are static. They are optimized for indexing. Can somebody tell me what you know about indexing? Global unique identifier. Who said it first? Odukwe. Okay. Gift. Please let me write down Odukwe's name. Right? Now, they are also optimized for your joins. If you want to create joins, if you want to link one table to another table, they are optimized for that purpose. Now, they are also essential for slowly changing dimension. I want somebody here. Oh God. Can you tell me about slowly changing dimension? Just give me a basic understanding of SCDs.
Okay.
Is that Elsie?
No, I heard somebody's voice. I thought the person wanted to talk. So
Let's you talk now. Please go ahead, Elsie.
okay. Slowly changing dimensions are dimensions that changes from the word. So let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, now I have a business, and in that business I make a soap, and the name of the soap I called it Sunlight Soap. Now, over the years, I want to rebrand this soap. Now, instead of me removing it, because there are different types of slowly changing dimension. They have type 0, type 1, type 2, type 3. So type 0 is like you are overwriting the original. That means I'm throwing away Sunlight and I'm bringing in a new brand, and I want to call it, say, maybe Okin soap. So I'm overwriting it totally from the system. I want to throw it away. I'm changing the name, I'm rebranding. So for type 1, I'm creating a new column and I want to have both of them, but this time around, I'm putting it on a column. Why type 2? I'm adding it to a row. So the Sunlight will be there, the Okin will be there, but the only difference is that there will be like maybe a column showing whether it's active or non-active. So then I have ended the soap, like I would say, is no longer active, but I don't want it to be out of the system. Or like, for example, now say you are married, you are in the company, you are married. When you enter the company, you were single, but when you got married, your details will still be there as a single person. But because it's a dimension that changed over time, I will now create another column for you, which I will now give you another key, which is the surrogate key, that your name will still be there, Elsie Okolo single, Elsie Okolo married. So now surrogate key 1, surrogate key 2. So in that way, I can end the reference and say this Elsie Okolo is no longer single, so it's no longer active, inactive. Then Elsie Okolo now married, active. So then type 4, I'll be type 3.
Hold on, Elsie. You don't confuse me here. What do you say type 0 is?
Overwrite.
Correct. Type 0 is not overwrite. It's not correct, sorry. Type 0 is not overwrite. Type 0 is fixed. Whatever changes happens does not display. You don't see it. For type 0 means there's no change. Type 1 is overwrite.
Oh, type 1 is overwrite. Okay.
Aha.
Okay.
You don't mix them up together.
It's very long.
I was about tripling your gift, but you don't talk anything all day. So type 0 is fixed. Type 1 is override. So today I was not married. I'm single. I married, I changed my son name. They will overwrite the previous name and put the new name based on the husband's surname now. That's overwrite.
Yeah.
Type 2 is adding a new row.
New record. Yeah.
So the old record will still be there.
Yeah.
When you were still single, you were bearing Adetunji Salome. When you now married, you are bearing Cocas or Williams Salome. The Adetunji Salome will still be there, but it will show that that record is no more active because now you are not. So it will there will be a start and an end date for that record. I will say from the record, so from the day you got this job, you were bearing Adetunji Salome from 2001 to 2004. The day you sent HR an email to say you are now married and this is your new name, the database guys will create a new record on that employee's table. And that new name will now be the one that is active. That one we have a start date, and the end date will now be showing, but maybe something like 999 as the year, and 12/12 as the month, and the 31/12 rather for the day and the year. I think I have to actually practicalize this thing so that maybe you will understand it. Let me try and open Excel. For some people, wetin we talk now be like, say, wetin be this? This two double screen is stressing me. See you guys, see what is going on now. Let's talk about slow changing dimension 1. I know you all understand dimensions, Abby. Okay. So let's say this is it's a serial number. Serial number. We have serial number 101. For example, 101. We have name of the person. Person is bearing Adetunji Salome. Salome, no vex how they use your name. No vex. Staff ID. The staff ID of this lady is AAQ123. Right? Now, this person now got married. There will be something like this, a start date for this record. A start date.
We are struggling to see your screen. Can you zoom in?
Oh, well, let me zoom in. Sorry. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. It's better.
So the start date is when the person started working in the company. 2020 04 30. 30th of April 2024. Now, because this when the person was not married, it should be showing something like this in the database 999 12 31. That's the maximum date, right? Now, when this person now marries, serial number will change to 2 to 102. It will now be Coca Salome. The same staff ID will still be there because it's still the same person, right? Now, let's say the person now get married. Now, let's say that person's now change their name. So this one will now have an end date. Might be like 2023 09 08, 8th of September. Now, this new record will now be 09, now it's 2023 09 09, right? The end date will now be what? What's the new end date now, guys?
999.
Yes.
12 and 31.
God bless you. Thank you. So you see that this person now on the dimension table, on the employee table, this lady rather, has 2 records. There will now be another thing that my system be like is active. It's active showing, this one now is showing 0. This one will be showing 1. So some people use yes or no, depending on who is designing the architecture of the database. Is that clear, guys? So this one is no more active, but there is a date to track when the date between when it was active and when it ended, and when the new record. So now, you know, master something in between this. I will say marital status, single, marriage. Can you see now, guys? Can you see what we mean by social dimension now? The one you are seeing here is called SCD type 2. Is the most popular one that you are going to encounter this thing when you start working. You need to understand the different nuances that comes with data. So it's not that all those simple ones that you are used to. You have primary key, foreign key, fact table, mission table. Sometimes it might become a little more complex than that, than all those basic ones. Do you understand now? So the most popular one is SCD 0123. I think SCD 012 is most popular. 3 and 4 and 5, I've never used it before. I don't know. I've never seen any case like that before. Now, if it was STD type 1, STD type 1, that one, there's no changes. It is fixed. Right? That's STD type 1. STD type 2.
So I thought you said type 1 is
Zero. Sorry,
override.
I think you are missing it up for Mr. Green.
Sorry. It's 0. STD type 1. STD type 1. Right? That one is what? Overrides.
Right.
So it means that in that STD type 1, instead of creating a new record for Salome, it will just replace the name of that person here. But the issue with that one is that you will not be able to track the old record. I don't always help me here if I'm saying rubbish.
No, you're right.
No, you're right.
Okay.
Yes.
STD type 2. STD type 2, that one is adding a new row. That's what you are seeing here on top. Adding a new row. Like this one. Was formerly Adetunji, now Coca, by the virtue of marital status. This record is no more active, but we still have the historical data. This one is what is the active one now. We refer to this person as Adetunji, as Coca Salome. That's SCD type 2. Now SCD type 3, that one is adding a new column.
Yeah.
I will stop at STD type 3. Because people will be like, which one be all this while? So what will happen in STD type 3 is this. Let me copy this information. I'll copy it, paste it here, right? And on that one, you will now see something like marital status. Sorry, hold on, guys. So you will now see a column for marital status, and you something like this. Let me delete this one. I don't need this one again. Right? So this one can be like previous marital status, something like this. Previous marital status. And something like this will now be there. Single. And you'll not see another one. Current marital status. This one will now be married. Is it clear now? Before we go ahead, any question on this STD type? Any question? Is it clear? STD type 023. Sorry?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
So please, I would like to ask concerning this STD type. Like, if you used to be a bank, what kind of scenario would be best for this? Is it like for customers that have a savings account that not change to current account? What kind of scenario
Yes,
can
that's a
this?
good example too. Customer closed one account, open another one, or
Okay, thank you.
upgraded their account from one type to another. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Some of us opened some accounts during NYSC. After some years, that account they said is deactivated. That we need to bring new documents to upgrade it to normal savings account. Did I lie? And we went to upgrade it. Hold on, sure. Your hand is up.
Yes.
That's correct, sir.
Okay, yeah. So I just want to add to like the scenario where this can be also important. So for example, let's say that you work in a sales or maybe like a supermarket, right? And probably you are your a particular product has changed over time. You know, we already have a dimension table for products, and in that product table, you always have a particular price. So for example, now let's say Coke is 70 naira like in maybe like 2 years ago. Now Coke is now 400 naira. Let's say that you want to do sales analysis for a particular year. You know, the price you are selling that Coke in 2 years ago is not the same price you are selling it in 2015. So if you want to still have a tracking record of those years that you are selling that Coke for 17 naira. So I think this is where, you know, this SDD can also be important so that you can keep track of previous record, previous price, not just that you are just overwriting the price to a new price, because even the data set will not even be accurate at the time you are doing your analysis. So I don't know, the person that has the question, if that helps in scenario where the state dimension comes in.
Thank you. Abdullah
Yes,
Ahmed.
yes, thank you.
Your hand is up.
Yes, I wanted to ask you,
Okay, Abdulaziz.
All right. Hello everyone. So my question is, a company decides to track certification exams for its employees, and I want it to be that when I open a table, for example, I want to see, oh, the current exam that they are trying to write is so and so exam. Will it be something feasible with SED? Because of course, I can possibly write like multiple exams in a short period of time. Do I? So do I need to look and see? Okay, so for example, type zero is out of it because, of course, I want to track exams for everyone. But which seems to is there any other options aside this that can be used, or should I say which seems to
Really, I
be
didn't really get that your
better?
question very well. What do you mean by tracking exams of staff? I don't. Maybe you should rephrase it somehow.
Okay. Okay. So let's say an employee, for example, want to write an exam. So one of the things they do is uh they apply for maybe an exam leave. So they also up they also make a request through a form and say, okay, this is the exam I want to do, and that is why I'm applying for this exam leave. So the HR will look into the form they filled for the exam they're writing or the exam leave. So it entails things like the exam they're writing. It could also entails like previous exams because they want to know if you've written an exam before, perhaps you failed, and they don't want
Okay,
to
that
spend
one,
money
sir.
on.
That one is the
Yes.
transactional data. It's different from dimensions.
Okay.
Are you getting my point? That one is more of transactional because that one, you want to track how many exams you've written before, the ones you passed, the one you failed. When did you take the exam? At what time? What exam type? The name of the exam? Who took the exam? And all those things. So It's more of like a fact table kind of thing. So that one is different from this one. This one is, you know, you know about dimensions, Abby. When we say dimensions, either maybe like
Yes.
products, customer, vendor,
Yeah.
staffs, employees, that has unique list of all
Yes.
everything. Now, there's not sometimes that there are changes to that. What's it called? There are times that there are changes to that. There are changes to that. What do we call it? To those dimensions.
The data, the dimensions. Yes.
So this example now, this lady Salome here, the lady is a staff. Is in the staff table or employees table.
Okay.
Employees table is the table that has all the list of all the employees. But okay, well, this person now has now married. When she first got the job, she was bearing Adetunji, my surname. Now, you know, during that period in that same company, she's now bearing Coca by the virtue of marriage. Are we going to maintain Adetunji and not change their record at all? Are we going to create a new record for her in that same employees table that has unique list of all the employees and say this Adetunji ends today and a new record of Coca starts another day? Or are we going to just overwrite it and say anywhere you see Adetunji Salome, change it to Coca Salome? Do you understand? So we are saying this because when you start working, for those that are not working yet, you will encounter this kind of data. And the question now is, how do you undo it? How do you still determine what will be your primary key and what will be your foreign key? Is that clear?
Yes,
I want to now ask you a very sorry. Continue, please.
Yeah, that's very clear.
Yeah. Okay. Now, let me ask you the question, Abdulaziz. If I want to, if I want to create my data model, which one I want? I'm in all of these columns. Which column will be my primary key for this table?
Your staff ID.
Staff ID. Why is that?
Okay, so first, we have the staff ID seems to be constant despite the fact that the dimension changes. So that shows the uniqueness and the stability.
The feature of a primary key is that it must be unique.
Yes,
and so far, staff ID
has
appeared 2 times. It's no one unique, sir.
Okay,
you see where surrogate key comes in now, natural key.
Okay, yes. But
so what
I have a
ID
question.
will use if it's not staff ID? Oh yeah.
Sir, I think it depends because if you use the surrogate key, which is the SN column, it can be misleading because now, for example, in this table, you are saying that you have 2 staff, but no, we have 1 person, 1 staff.
It's not
so
misleading.
It
it's not changing dimension here.
No, like if you're looking for what column to use for a certain kind of analysis, staff ID may still be the primary key you should use depending on what you want to get out of the analysis.
Well, you cannot use staff ID in this scenario now.
Okay, if there's a question,
you can't use staff ID.
How many staff do we have right now? What column will you use to do the analysis? If the question is how many staff do we have right now?
What is the future of a primary key?
The features, it's unique, it's not empty.
Is staff ID unique in this scenario?
Like that. It's not.
So you can't use staff ID as the primary key.
Okay.
It's as simple and straightforward. Don't confuse yourself. You are trying to force an opinion on yourself that is not true. Do you understand what I'm saying? Isaiah?
Okay, I think I understand our concern.
Okay.
In terms of, because she asked a question, which I also feel that we should talk about. Of course, maybe I have an idea of how to give an answer to that.
Okay.
When she was asking that, okay, if I'm going to ask how many numbers of staff do we have here, I think, of course, you can use these things to most likely count the unique ID and get the numbers of staff.
That one is not. I'm talking about data modeling now.
So for if I'm going to follow the concept of the rules of data model,
yes,
what I think we will use as our primary key will be the serial number column SN.
The serial number column.
Corrected.
Okay.
Or if we most likely generate another unique ID for this data sets, that's another option too. So
okay. Elsie.
Okay, I just want to shed more light on what Onye was asking because I know where she's coming. Yeah, okay. From this table, the primary.
It can't be like saying me I did wickets with you. Everybody they say.
Okay, so the primary key here is the serial number. The staff ID cannot be used as the primary key.
So how do we classify that staff ID now?
Now the staff ID is the natural key, but because it is inside you are using it like it has gone into the warehouse, you introduce a surrogate key so that you can keep track of the changes of the dimension. So for her asking the question now, how many staff do we have? This is where query comes in. Where is active equals 1. So when you write your query, where is active equals 1, you will know the active staff that you have. But this tracking here is to know, like for example, now this Adetunji Salome now, if you want to check if the staff was performing better when she was single than when she was married, this is where you are tracking the dimension.
Okay, Elsie, wait. Don't they carry me go where I don't know. Wait. Hey. See, don't let us be confused about these things. Very straightforward. See, this is it. Why are we having a new record for Salome in the first place? Why?
It's because we don't want to.
Wait, it's because of marriage. Wait.
Marriage.
Let's keep this thing simple. It's because of marriage. That's the reason why Salome is having it. If there's no marriage, well, even if she marries and she's not, some people marry and they don't change their surname, right? There will not be any reason for us creating a new record for this person. Let's keep that in mind. Now, staff ID. If you connect this staff ID to another staff ID in probably maybe a transaction, maybe employee engagement table, that one employee can appear, it's like you are doing many to many. Did I lie?
No.
So if you connect this staff ID column now to maybe we have another employee engagement table that staff ID too appears multiple times, what will happen? What will happen, guys? It's going to be many to many cardinality, many to many relationship, rather. Sorry, many to many relationship, and that's not what is. That's not what a star schema is, right? So how do I now determine what would be my primary key? Let's go back to my slide. Surrogate key is that serial number that you see there. It's an example of a surrogate key. So even as the staff store name is changing by virtue of marriage, by virtue of maybe somebody changed position, before they were clerk, today they are senior clerk, we are still going to have that slow changing dimension like that. That will say record starts, record starts, record start the record end date. Active is 0, active 1. Natural key now. A business meaningful attribute that uniquely identifies a record, e.g., employee ID, product SKU, national ID card, national ID number. Now, for the fact that in this table, staff ID appears several times does not mean that staff ID is not a unique identifier. It still stands as a unique identifier for different staff. Every staff has their own unique ID. Let's go ahead. What are the features of a natural key? Exists naturally in source systems, may be composite, multiple columns, subject to business rule changes. What else is said the other time? The business can say your staff ID number will not use AAQ again as the prefix of your staff number. It will not be using QQQ. Right? So in most contexts, natural keys, they change based on maybe probably the way the business is evolving, maybe based on them doing some restructuring. You know, when that Access Diamond Bank thing happened, I'm very sure that some people's staff ID numbers are going to change. Am I correct? Who's working in Access Bank here or Diamond Bank here? Some people's staff ID might change. It's very, very possible. So natural key sometimes are not stable.
You are correct, sir.
Yeah. Sometimes they are not stable. Business rules can affect them. Right? But for surrogate key, their system generated, they are everly stable. They are everly stable. Right? That's the difference between natural key and surrogate key. Let's go ahead. What is the application of this in Power BI? What is the application of this in Power BI? Now, why surrogate keys may be the best that you are going to use for your primary key? Number one, it is optimized for storage because they are majorly, most times, integers. Right? They are most times what? Integers. Right? Now, they are good when you want your DAX to return, you want your DAX expression to return answers as fast as possible. You want it to retrieve data and updates as fast as possible. Surrogate key is good for that. When you're looking for a reliable relationship between tables, there's no risk of whether the business rule will change or affect a particular attribute. Then surrogate key is what you should use as your primary key. Another thing is that surrogate key supports SCD. So in case there are changes, whether by virtue of change in position, whether you move to a new department, whether you marry, something happens to you, surrogate key can help you to maintain consistency and maintain that uniqueness. Exactly. Natural key, on the other side, you can use it if your table is very small and simple. For example, a list of countries. Country's name does not really change. Right? If you are using direct query as your source, then natural keys can be used as primary key. Right? Now, otherwise, if all of these requirements are not met, it is better that you should use your surrogate key as your primary key. Let's go ahead. What are the best practices in implementing surrogate and natural key as your primary key? For example, you know that in our Power Query, when we were building our logical model the other day, the first day of the class, when we created index column, and can anybody remember that? When we were creating index column, right? You know that those dimensions, they did not have primary key. We created index from that denormalized table, index column, so that we can use that as their primary key. You remember that, right? Now, in SQL, for example, just like what Elsie said, that when you use identity, you do auto increments. You can use that to generate your surrogate key, regardless of whatever. Now, how do you handle natural keys? So there are some times that the way you handle natural keys, it might be that you need to combine both natural key and surrogate key together to form your new primary key. Who has done that before here? Anybody? You have merged your primary key together with your surrogate key together with your natural key to form a new primary key. Abdulaziz.
Yes. So the reason I experienced this was because we're trying to do reconciliation. So when you make payment through Paystack, for example, you may want to. So let's say, for example, you click on Pay, and then Paystack does the processing of using your card to make payments. So once that is done, one of the problems we used to have is on our own back end, we are unable to receive the notification that a payment has been made with Paystack. So what we do is, oh my goodness, this is data analytics class. Sorry. So what we'll do is we use a webhook, and this webhook is being created by Paystack. We use a webhook. Once the payment is made, we the notification is going to go through webhook that says a payment has been made, and then we use it to we update the backend by combining. So we have a user ID already, which is usually the what's it called? The surrogate. So we pass some metadata like the person's ID and what's it called? The natural ID and the system generated ID. So we combine both together and we use that instead of using just a single one. So we pass it there, and then when the data comes in, we get the combination of both linked with the transaction ID. So we don't have to worry about whether it's a natural key or it's a surrogate key. So we just use that to track with the transaction ID to track your payments and all that. So even if payments had an issue somewhere, it is easy for us to track. Yeah.
Although this your story is very long, Sha, but I'm trying to catch it. I'm trying to still
Exactly.
understand
Sorry.
it.
It's so many backend things.
Yeah, I get. Isaiah.
I think the experience I personally had has to do with it was on a gig that I was working on, has to do with analyzing the player's data sets. So there was a column that we have the years, and we have the player's ID, and we also have some other details that serves as an indicator for their performance, both in previous years. So we have like 3 years. So what I had to do to make the player's ID unique is to join the year and the player's ID together to have a unique ID. So I just joined them together, and that gives me a unique ID for the player. Then I also have similar experience to when I was working with an health data set, whereby we have, so I discovered that the data set specifically was to focus on ICU, intensive ICU, people that are admitted in intensive ICU if they live longer, if they stayed alive or dead. Although it was a Python project, but the same concept also is what I used to generate a unique ID. So I have the admission. I discovered that people can be admitted for different reasons. So to generate a unique ID for people in the ICU, I combine the ICU ID and the admission ID together to generate a unique ID for them.
Admission ID and the ICU ID together
Yes.
to form a new primary key.
Yes.
For them. So in the transaction table, there's the ICU number and the admission number too. You also combine it in that one too. So to join them together.
Yes.
Okay, good one. Good one. Now let me now ask you a question. Which is where I'm still going, Isaiah. Assuming that in your transaction table, what you only have that shows the record of every time they come to the hospital, they are admitted and the rest. You have the admission ID on that table and you have the ICU ID on the other table. Let's say there's not one table that has a unique list of all the patients and it has only the admission ID. How do you still model the table together?
Sorry, come again with your question.
I said there's one table. It's transaction table that shows activities of, say, patients. They come to the hospital, they come for treatment, some get admitted. After 3 days, they go. They come back again. That one is the hospital transaction table. It has the ICU ID and it has the admission ID. There is now another one that has a unique list of all the patients, like it's called patients table, that only has admission ID. How are you going to model the two tables together?
Well, if the table has a patient's ID, if the patient's ID, if the patient has a patient's ID and it also has an admission ID, there are two things I will most likely try. I will combine the two together and I will most likely also generate another set of ID to see which work best. If then any of the two will help.
But what about the ICU ID that is in the transaction table?
I'm confused.
To talk about that, I think that data set needs to be separated into admission and that's IPD and OPD. Those that are coming just to see doctor and go for that day, and those that are admitted.
Those ones, they call them a particular name. What's that name?
OPD.
No, they call them a particular name. Is it outpatient, Abby?
Outpatient, yes, that's OPD.
Outpatient, okay, thank you.
Exactly. So it has to be splitted into OPD and IPD. IPD are for the ICU. So it depends, yes. And before a patient can be admitted, must pass through PD, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So definitely admission ID and patient ID will be there.
Okay.
Yes. So if it's there, then there's no need to start looking for them again than to merge them together and form the unique ID.
Are you coming again? Sorry.
I say if it's there already, it's just to merge them together and form the unique ID, except their data is not separated into OPD and IPD.
You know what I'm saying is that I'm talking about two tables that do not have the same list of IDs. They have one similar one.
Yeah.
For sure, I want to contribute to this. They have one similar one. But one has one extra key than the other one.
Sorry, come again, sir. Sorry, come again.
Okay, let me go back to that my Excel example.
Okay.
That one will be simple. So let's say I have another table called employee engagements. That table shows employees that are filling forms to talk about what's their opinion about their managers, what's their opinion about their work description, about the work environment, blah, blah, blah. Maybe the company, in fact, most companies to do employee engagement like once a week, they tell you to fill a survey, right? So let's say I now have staff ID, staff name, the different questions. Question 1, Q2, question 1, question 2, blah, blah, blah. Now, what I only have in this here is just staff ID. Staff ID AAQ123. That is the Coca Salume now. That's the active record. Question 1, another person. Maybe that one is Gabriel. That one is Gabriel Samuel, something like that. And answered question 1 and 2 in the survey. So this is what I have on this table. This table is an engagement, employee engagement. It's a transactional table. So it means that maybe, for example, and if it's historical data, an employee staff ID can show one staff ID can appear several times. So maybe they filled this form in, this one is year 2012. Year 2012. They filled another one in year 2013. 2013. So these two people, these two guys. So I now have this kind of table that is the staff table that has the list of all the staff. And I have another table which is the engagement table that is transactional. How do I model these two together? What columns am I connecting on my data model to link the two up together in the best way possible?
Okay, so for me, I think
this one too now. Staff ID is appearing 2 times. Don't forget that to follow before you say your answer. This one now is not unique again because it's going to give you many to many. Engagement table, transactional, fact table. This one, dimension table, list of all the staffs. So how do you handle that situation, sir?
Okay, so I think for me, I think it's pretty straightforward with the discussion that we have been having since morning, and that's where the surrogate key comes in, right? So for me, in this case, the best approach is just to combine the serial number or the serial number with the staff ID. So that will give us
But this one does not have serial number.
Which one does not have serial number?
The engagement table.
The engagement table doesn't have it.
If it doesn't have this serial number is just system auto-generated.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
But because this one is unique, because of slow changing dimension, this one would just be auto-incrementing, even if the same staff details is reappearing based on different factors.
The dimension table have year included.
Sorry? I didn't hear that. Sorry. Well, guys, so let's talk. What do you think? I'm sure everybody. How do we model? What would be our primary key now in this situation? What do we do?
Definitely, the staff ID can be it can't be the primary key because
it can't be the primary key again.
It will cause a many-to-many relationship with the table. So
what
we need
to.
Well, what we can do is either we create a composite key, right, that will merge with the staff ID. Then we have to find a way to add it into the survey table as well, so that we can now create we can now model our data together.
For the sake of those that are in this class, we know most of them are beginners, sir. I don't know what you mean by composite key.
Composite key, I mean, like it's just like a surrogate, like we having a surrogate key, joining it with the staff ID, right? Then we have by that time we can have a unique
well, you know the issue with that one that I see with that approach. I mean, I see with that approach, because we are all learning.
Yes.
Is that it might not align with the way it is in the staff table. So what me I would have suggested is this. We only have staff ID here, right? And we have staff name.
Yes.
What I would have done is to combine these two together. I'll create a new column.
Okay.
I'll create a new column and combine. Sorry, I'm coming. And probably, maybe in my Power Query, I can do a join that will return this serial number on this engagement table. And I will now, when I'm doing that joins, I'm not going to be using only one column for the joins. I'm going to be highlighting these two columns to create that join. So that I can return serial number on this table. Does it make any sense? What am I even saying? You know that in the previous record, this lady now, let's say she filled this thing in 2023. Let me change the dates. When she was still bearing Adetunji. Now she's Coca. Yeah. The same person. Adetunji here now. Now she's Coca in this one. When she was filling this one, maybe this one is 2025. No, what did I do? Shit. 2025. 2025. So when she was filling this survey, she was still Adetunji at that time. Now she's filling the new survey for another year. Now she's Coca. How do we connect them? Because even what I said now did not make sense, because I think for joins, you can correct me. Even in Power Query or in what's it called, SQL, I think one has to be unique. The other has to be can be duplicate, right? If I'm
Sorry,
correct.
what are you talking about?
I think if you are doing joins in Power Query or in SQL, I think one of the tables have to be unique. The other one have to be. The other one is can be, what's it called? The other one can be duplicate, right?
I don't think it doesn't have to.
Okay.
I'm not sure that condition.
But I think by the time we combine these two, it's not going to be unique. Oh.
No, if you combine the first
if
table,
I combine name with staff ID, it's going to be unique now, right?
Yes.
Yes. So with that now, I can now return this serial number on this table. And I can now use the serial number now to join.
But for me, I think all these things that we are doing is just a long process. What I would have said we should just do, unless the only thing is just that if you want to maintain this slow changing dimension too, if not, we could have just created a separate view where just filter where it is active one and use that one. We don't need
we cannot do that, sir. You know why?
Why?
We are dealing with historical data. So that means that it's not going to give us the results when this person was Kuka. What happened when she was Adetunji? So in a sales scenario, you are following sure you are the sales manager for Lagos. They transferred you to Kaduna.
Okay.
We want to now prepare a report that shows our sales record from 2017 while you were in Lagos.
Yes.
So it means that we will not see all those. That means we are reporting incorrect figures because we've excluded all the sales that you did when you were in Lagos as a manager. If we do that.
Okay. I get your point now. I get your
point. You get what I'm trying to say. So these ones will still be there, whether active or inactive, it will still be there. But we are forming a new primary key for this table now, based on when we combine name and staff ID. Because there's not going to be uniqueness now. If you use staff ID alone, it will not be unique. But because these two, they are not the same because of the surname change. So by the time we now combine this one as the new so let me just even do it so that people understand what I'm saying. Not like I'm just saying rubbish. So I say this and this. This will now be the new key for me.
Yes. Yes.
Does it make sense to you, everybody now? This will now be the new key now. This will now be my new primary key. I will now do the same thing for this table too. I will come here and say equals the name and the staff ID. This one too will now be, but even though, let me tell you something, guys. Even though that I've combined it in the two, it does not still mean that I'm now going to use the two. I'm going to use the two to, I'm going to connect to the two. I'm coming. Let me expand this one. Yeah. So it does not mean that I will now join this one and this one together in my data modeling. No. What I will do is, whether in my Power Query, I can now do a join. I can now do what we call merge. The merge, I will now tell it to return this serial number column. I will now use this serial number column that I now have here. This serial number column, what I will now use as my what's it called, to form my relationship between the two tables. Because integer to integer compresses the size of your table. Integer to integer saves a lot of storage. It avoids complexity than using this new primary key, this new column that I just combined as the one I'm using for my relationship. Is it clear to everyone? Does it make any sense at all?
Yes, sir.
Is it confusing? You can call me. If it's not clear to you, let me know, guys. Abdulaziz and then Oluwasegun. Please start with that noise now.
All right.
Hi, Mr. Gillian.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So my question on that part is, although it's applicable to different use case, right?
Exactly.
So it's applicable to different use case, but I would suggest that if we are going with merging ID number, staff ID with name, then we'll create relationship with it straight up. Then if we are going with serial number still speaks directly to the name.
Sir, there's something about, you know, that in this scenario, the assumption is that the serial number does not come with the engagement table, sir.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what I'm trying to say is, for this the dimension table at the top here, serial number is unique.
Serial number is unique.
And it's,
because it's
yes, and it's attached. Yeah, because it's system generated and it's attached to every entry.
It's attached to every entry. Yes, you are correct.
Yes. So, and it's the same thing with the primary key that we generated at the end here, where we merge name and staff ID.
Good question, sir. The reason why I said for best practice, it's not as if the combo of this here and the combo of this here cannot be used to link the two tables together.
Yeah.
But I said for best practices, it's good to use integer columns for forming your relationship.
Yeah, that's what I'm
which is this serial number.
Okay.
Do you understand? By returning serial number on this engagement table, by the virtue of this combo, you can return the serial number column on this table, right?
Absolutely.
Good. You are now going to use this serial number that you've returned here as the one that will now join the two tables together, and not the combo of staff ID and name.
So my question my question there now is, when we are combining staff ID from the first table to make another primary key, and we are combining staff ID and name on second table to make another primary key on that table. Is that not a duplicate of efforts?
It's not duplicate, sir. It is based on context.
Okay. And that's why I said it's applicable to different use case.
Yes. I'm just giving you example of a use case out of 100.
Okay.
You know, I'm just trying to preach to people that are here, especially for those that are still new, that you might encounter this kind of scenario. Do you understand me, sir?
Yes, sir.
Sashegun? And this is an example of a way to handle it.
Okay.
Yeah. If you have any counter opinion, I'm open to I'm open to arguments and suggestions.
Yeah,
fine.
sorry, Mr. Bengulu.
Yes,
sorry.
sir.
Yeah, I was about to say what Mr. Shegun was talking about. Like, why not just use your index column for that staff ID, and then what's it called? Combining with the with the one we have on top, which is the employee ID, table, right?
You
so
mean
at least we
combine
can
SNA and staff ID?
like I'm saying that for this staff ID, we can just create an index column. So that index column, of
you
course,
mean for the engagement table?
Yeah, for this
We
one.
cannot do that. Papa we should also set it because it's not the same context. If I create index, does it align with this one?
That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, before doing that, then we would have looked at
Look at here now.
the two
If I have to
tables.
create index now, wait, I now say you should start from 101 here. Look at it now. 101 to 104. 101 to 104, right? 102 here, which is Gabriel. You see the same thing as 102 on this table?
No, it's not the same thing.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Is it clear, Mr. Samant?
Yeah, yes, clear.
So it is this one that I have to return on this table.
Yeah.
Because 102 is still for Coca on staff table. It's still for Coca. The same staff. But on the engagement table, the second row is for Gabriel.
Yeah.
So if I do an index, I will be joining nonsense.
Yeah.
Does it make sense to us, guys?
It makes sense.
But so Mage 2 will not work in this scenario too, because
okay, why?
If you try to do Mage, I'm not sure it will work. It won't work now.
Because if you try to
yes, now because it's going to merge, it's going to be duplicating the record. And that's why you just see that you have more than, for example, now, because if you try to merge what's it called, staff ID, AO, this 123 with, with Adetunji Salome here and with Kuka, it's going to be having, instead of having one record, you might be having like 4 records in your in the fact table.
Why are we going to be having 4 records? It's like, let's do, for example, let's do VLOOKUP. Let's do VLOOKUP. Equals to VLOOKUP. What's my lookup value? This one, right? Or let me use XLOOKUP instead. Sorry. I'm just trying something out. Yeah. Comma. This one. Comma. I'm returning. I don't forget how XLOOKUP the lookup. This tabby. I'm returning this. Did I get this thing correctly?
And you should use the.
I've made a mistake. Sorry.
I like the
column. Use the end.
Sorry. I made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So what I have it lookup array, right?
Name.
Then use the primary key. Yeah, the primary key. Yeah.
Then return array, serial number.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
So you get the unique value, right?
Exactly. This one returns 0 because you see that it's now returning 102.
Yeah, it's not saying because it's not saying it.
This
Yeah.
gateway does not have any record in this place yet.
This X lookup will still work on the name. That's what I'm saying. If you use the same X lookup on the name and say lookup for Adetunde Salome on the name column and return serial number, it will still return the same thing.
It will still return same thing. Yes, you are correct.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying that instead of merging name ID and staff ID to make primary key, why not go with serial number straight up? That was how I
Thank you for
was
that. Let me now tell you something, sir. For best practices, integer is better for linking tables than text. Even for optimization.
I don't understand.
Let me make you understand it. I can as well just link name here. That's what you're saying, Abi. So this name here.
Yeah, and still return, because what I'm saying is we are still returning the serial number.
What is this data type for this one?
It's text, string.
This one called
string text.
Don't forget that what you're saying is correct too, that I can just return this and return the serial number. I'm not arguing about that. You get me? I'm just saying that the reason why we are returning SN here is because we want to join the two tables together in our model. Is it clear, Mr. Shegun?
Clear. But the primary key we are looking up to is still text.
It's not text. The serial number is integer.
Let me get it straight.
Serial number that we are using as the relationship that form that relationship is integer. This serial number is integer now. We are not using this or the combo or any of it to form our relationship between the two tables. We are using the serial number.
Let me explain
number that this one does not have, that this one has.
Maybe I'm not explaining myself clearly. What I'm trying to say is, here we are focusing on using primary key. And primary key that we have here is combination of name and staff ID.
Maybe because I call it primary key. Let me just call it primary. Let me call it combo.
Yeah, okay, call it any name.
Maybe that's
my concern is
yeah.
Okay, my concern is we are using combo right here. We are not using combo to link the two tables together.
Yes.
We are using combo to get the serial number. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. To get this serial number, what if we now use name instead of combo?
That's what I mean is that we can use name.
We are still getting serial number, which is integer.
Yes.
Exactly. So if you still use name, it's still the same thing.
It's still the same thing. Yes, I know. That's why I said I'm not arguing. That it's the same thing. I agree to your point. I said yes, the same thing. I didn't argue.
No problem. Well, good to go.
Thank you. Guys, did you enjoy today's class? Is it boring to you? Okay, so before we go, we are ending the class now. Some people are left already. The only time you use a natural key as your primary key is when you can be sure that there's uniqueness, right? By using your table.distinct in your M query, your M code, or using group by in SQL. Can even use group by itself in your Power Query also. And avoid this. I was going to the other time. Why I said we should not use that name or combo of name and staff ID as our primary key to link these two tables together. Is say avoid high cardinality strings for your primary keys. So using strings and high cardinality, you mean like columns that involves you combining different columns together, right? You should avoid using them as your primary key. Okay, let's move to the next thing, the last one. For example, A sales table joins to customer using customer email, which is a natural key. The issues is that emails can change, breaking historical sales data. String joins degrade performance, right? Solution, add a customer key surrogate to customer. Replace customer email with customer key in sales. So let's say in sales, what you have in sales is just customer email. You don't have customer key in sales. So you create the customer key in customer table, and instead of now using the email, the customer email as primary key for the sales table, you use the customer key. Now you return the customer key in that sales table. So keep customer email as a descriptive attribute, right? Result, you get 40% faster refresh, right? And reliable historization. Is it clear to everybody? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See you guys next week, Sunday. Next week, Sunday, we are starting data modeling. Thank you.
All right, sir.
Have
Thank
a
you, sir.
wonderful week. My captains can stay. Yes, sir.